Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of the Top Producers Nation podcast. This, of course, is the podcast that is made for top producers, with top producers, and by none other than Tampa Bay's top producers. We are powered by the Tampa Bay Real Producers platform here in the local market of beautiful Tampa Bay, Florida. And our goal is to help real estate agents become top producers in their desired market anywhere in the country. So you can check out our free community to join at topproducersnation.com. You can see the different resources there to help you become a top producer, including coaching, consulting, calls. We even have a course that you can look into and be able to really learn a ton of great things on your own to help you build your pipeline and build your business based on a lot of the conversations that we have with top producers here in this podcast. So we also have partners, of course, who support the Tampa Bay Real Producers platform here in this local market. And we bring our partners onto the show as well to be able to dive into their story and their services and show how they make a difference in the local community. So today we have Jon Fasick with Premier Movers for Less. He is one of those partners that supports Tampa Bay Real Producers. So Jon, good to have you here, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
No doubt.
Yeah.
It's good to have you here. Excited to dive in a little bit to your story and your show here. So why don't we talk with, start with just your background of how you eventually got to Tampa, if you didn't grow up here, and at some point what you did prior to starting Premier Movers for Less, and what caused you to start the company.
Yeah, so we actually I was born in Akron, Ohio, moved down to Tampa when I was pretty young, 5 years old, so I consider myself a Tampa person. This is my home. It's going to be my home forever.
So you grew up here most of the years.
Yeah.
You're a local yokel for the most part.
I really am. Just missed a couple of years, but I love Tampa. We're definitely planting our roots here and not going anywhere. Yeah. So that's how we wanted to start a business here. So how that kind of went was my entrepreneurial experience. Really, my family has always been, had their own businesses. When we moved from Ohio, my dad moved down to start a vending business, vending machines, and way back in the day. So, that's such an impression on my childhood to have left where I was born to go and follow a dream of doing something different in a new city, new town, and everything. So I think that had an impact on me. But
so entrepreneurship was in the blood, huh?
Yeah. We've done started a business with my mom when I was in my mid-20s, which working with family, that's pretty can be stressful, but also very rewarding. But
what business was that?
So it was a service entertainment events business.
Okay.
So kind of in the service industry,
Sure.
which kind of led me into looking for something more of a every day of the week service type business. With the events business, we always had like really great, not even reviews, just feedback from customers. Very high customer service.
Nice.
So
did you guys sell the company, or did you end up someone take it over?
Really, yeah. My brother and my mom kind of kept it going. Actually, 10 years now, I guess. That
so
or 12 years,
still
that
operating,
business.
huh?
Yeah,
Nice.
just slightly.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's kicking.
Still
breathing.
Yeah.
Still a heartbeat, huh?
Still does.
So when did you start Premier Movers for Less?
So 2019, right at the end, and 2020, we kind of started getting a little bit of traction.
Right in the beginning stages of COVID, huh?
Yeah.
Right during that time.
And that was actually pretty good for the industry.
I can imagine.
From what I understand,
Florida moving must have boomed down in the free state of Florida at that time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh my God, there's so many stories of folks from the Northeast coming down and buying homes cash. And
Yep.
I'm sure plenty of the agents that follow this are gonna know about that
For sure.
that whole boom. But
What caused you to start up the company? Did you have any background in the moving industry? What was it about it that intrigued you?
I was with a logistics company for about 20 years, And so I'm very much a loyal person, right? So, but after about 19 years with that company, the ownership was looking to sell, and I had done every position in the company, and from starting as a driver up to a sales manager and operations and all this stuff. But when they went to sell, they stopped really caring about anything but the numbers, and so it just kind of left me unmotivated. So I wanted to take my initiative, and we started this.
Okay.
So it was
So the logistics background wasn't
yeah.
specifically moving, or was it?
No. There was
Okay.
no moving. With the other logistics business, I
Yeah.
couldn't have something too close with them. It'd be a conflict of interest.
Right.
And, being with that company for so long, I'm sure they would think that I had a lot of secrets that they didn't want me to
Sure.
capitalize on the market. So I completely went different from what they did. And
I'm sure they had you on a non-compete and
oh yeah,
reality anyway. So
yeah,
was there
absolutely.
anything about like the moving industry when you started digging into it that surprised you in those early times of first year or so in the business?
I love that question. And I think everyone that's ever moved themselves realizes that by the time you're halfway into the move, you've got more things than you thought you had.
Oh, for sure.
And that's when reality hits, and you're like, how am I going to get all this done and moved? And I got to be out of the apartment, or I got to be out of this place by tomorrow. So,
Yep.
similar. I came into the industry thinking, okay, you just need a couple of dollies, you find a couple of hardworking guys, and this is going to be, easy money. But it's so crazy. It's, every move is very unique.
Yeah.
Guys typically, they've got their prized possession, their, nice TV, and but then, every family is a little bit different. Sometimes you got heirlooms, and you've got antique tables, and so every family kind of has their, their very unique favorite items.
Right.
So like our movers really have to have focus when they come into somebody's house, that these precious things are really handled well.
Yeah.
So
Makes sense.
every move's different.
They all got that sentimental value about,
Yeah.
something that you would look at and think this is kind of a piece of junk,
Yeah,
but for
yeah,
somebody else, it's
yeah.
like the most precious thing that they're moving, right?
Yeah, you never know. So we train the guys to kind of treat everything like it's that precious
Yeah.
piece, because you never really know.
So are you guys mostly a Tampa Bay based moving company? Do you serve the whole state? Do you serve the whole country? All the above? What does that look
Yeah.
like?
I've been big into networking, so like we primarily focus on Florida, from Miami to Panhandle. We do all of Florida very well. For anything that we don't do well, we have partnerships with other companies around the country. So
Yep.
we network. I've got friends in California, Arizona, Georgia that have moving companies, so we're able to kind of connect the country. If it's not a good fit for us, I've
You'll refer it out.
I've done all the research already.
Mm-hmm.
From how much your pods are going to cost, how much. There's a company, Red Rover, so we'll utilize whatever's the best equipment, whatever makes the most sense for a particular move. So,
But your bread and butter is generally going to be local
Yeah.
to within the state of Florida, it sounds like.
Yeah. I don't know the percentage, but I mean, you'd be shocked about how many people move like within a mile from their house.
It's probably
Like,
the biggest. It's a higher
people-
percentage, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
people are really staying right around that same
Yeah.
area, and then
They just want to change the size of the home, but they love
Yeah.
the area, they love the neighborhood. They don't want to uproot their entire life. They just want to have a different place to
Right.
live, right?
Right. Yeah. So on the occasion, you get the someone takes a new job in Miami, and
Right.
people that are just graduating school and taking off to a new city. But yeah, a lot of it is just right locally, and so. And even these can be very complex as well.
Sure.
With a 2,000 square foot home, you're looking at 2 trucks. We've done local jobs with 4 to 5 trucks of items. Some of the big Bayshore luxury homes, those moves are pretty large and significant
Yeah.
in their own right. But
And you'll deal with those too, right? You'll do luxury,
yeah,
you'll do middle class,
we do. Yeah.
whatever the needs are.
Yeah, yeah. We even move kids into USF every year, and the young folks, but apartments. We do, yeah, large homes, Bayshore, and
Okay.
yeah, we love those. We love.
And so Premier Movers for Less is not a franchise, right? It's your brand.
Correct.
You started the company, and do you have? There's not like multiple locations necessarily. It's the one entity, one brand, and serving the state of Florida.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
And so, what role over the years now, Jonathan, has your relationship with real estate agents played in the success of the company or in the growth of it? Was it something that you started focusing on early, right away? Did that evolve later? What's that look like for you?
Probably my second year, I joined a BNI group, and I was approached by a realtor agent in that group that, I thought she was such a dynamic person, and that that was going to be a good avenue for us, but it's never been something that we've leveraged as a business. But this year is a priority for us to make more connections in the community, and that's where we, sought out the partnership with you guys.
Sure.
And a couple other groups. Paramount Homes, we're doing a little
With
bit.
Keegan and the team over there. Yeah.
Keegan, yeah.
Yeah.
And so we've been partnering with them, and so actually I see great promise with these connections with the agents. And I mean, I feel like I'm going to be here for 30 years, and I think that or more, that's how long I'm envisioning the business being around for. But the partnerships, the connections, it's time to like really work with the people that know what the industry is about, and probably most of them don't have a good mover, I would imagine. And
I'm sure you've heard some horror stories over the years, huh?
Oh yeah, there's tons of wrong turns that you can take when hiring a mover, and being that Tampa there's so many hustlers out there with your like handyman guys that they're plumbers on the weekends, they're movers on the weekends. So they don't have a brand, and if you happen to call one of them, I mean, I've got some really bad stories actually. If you happen to call one of them, you could get yourself into a problem. So and that's probably why a lot of times realtors keep their hands off of
Sometimes things just magically disappear, right? From one move to the next on the truck. Especially you hear that a lot with cross state moves, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
But I would imagine even if you get the wrong person, even with the local stuff, like things just kind of, where'd that go?
I don't
we
know.
moved 5 minutes away. How did this disappear?
I don't know if we are going to go into worse stories with movers, but I think it's something we in the industry like to talk about worse mover stories. But the one that came to mind was a non-branded company that I ran into the guy at a truck rental place. He told me he was a mover, and he ended up going out to the job that day, unlicensed mover. His friend / employee, within 10 minutes of starting their move, broke like some really nice vase of the lady's house. So they just loaded themselves up in the truck and took off and left the people like hanging completely. And the guy actually was kind of joking and laughing about this. So like I think most people are genuinely like trying to do the right thing, but like if you
have some element of customer service where they actually care,
right, and that's like, if you're hiring a mover that's not a branded company, that's not on Google, that's not trying to do the right things, like you're putting yourself at a serious risk, as a as a homeowner. So
totally.
But
is there anything you feel like, John, that specifically for real estate agents should know in terms of what they should look for in wanting to partner up with a good quality moving company? Because especially with agents, I mean, their reputation's also at risk, right? If they're referring a company that's not following through with what they say, causing damage, like you said, or doing something that's just not going to be legitimate throughout the process. Anything come to mind that you think would be important that an agent should look out for?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think it comes down to, looking at the brand. For us, our reputation is everything. We're building a brand. There's a mover in town that I'm friends with some moving company owners here locally, but we joke about outside another moving company in the area that when they get a bad review, they start fighting and arguing with the client online on the reviews and on
Not a
Facebook.
good look.
And yeah, so I mean, look at their brand and do a little homework and make sure they have a website. You can look at ensure they have a license. For us, for every estimate that we send out, we send a copy of our license. We send, the Florida rules and regulations for liability coverage for the shipments. So, but ultimately for us, we want to have a personal relationship with the realtor where they know they can call us. And if they pick up the phone and call me, like I'm involved in the everyday, day to day, so I can make stuff happen.
Yep. You are the sole owner of the company?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
The structure of the company now, is it employees that you have on the team? Are they subs? What does the structure look like?
We utilize both from W-2 or 1099 workers, and 1099 is very prevalent in the industry.
Sure.
But what it
based
comes
on
down
need,
to,
right? Like how many movers, if you have a bigger job, you might need to bring more in. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, all the guys that we send out work for us on a consistent basis. They know our regulations and rules on how we handle things. So it's not, we never bring someone in off of the street per se. So it's really about sometimes 1099 contract workers. You can save a little bit of money on some costs. Sure. So sometimes it makes sense to have those guys. Sometimes it makes sense to have an employee to handle everything.
Yep. And do you own all your own trucks? Do you guys end up renting vehicles, or do you own your trucks as well?
Yeah, actually we had one of our biggest days yesterday, and we had our 4 trucks and we had 5 trucks rented out. So definitely there's a lot of surge in this industry. So again, to keep costs down, like we don't have like a big warehouse, and we live within our means to be able to provide a fair priced service.
Yep.
Yeah. So
do you have any sort of a storage component at all to your service, if there's a need for that, or not yet?
We don't have our own warehouse. We do have some partners that do have storage facilities that we connect with, and a lot of times what we see is short-term storage, like the house one's not closing on this day, and so you'll end up storing items on the truck for a day or two, and the reason being is you don't want to handle the furniture twice. So keeps the labor costs down doing that, and actually that's where we needed so much extra equipment yesterday. Is we had 4 trucks with items being stored, 2 different large homes that
makes sense.
hadn't closed. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. How do you generally go about meeting your agents now? Is there any? Do you do any sort of meet and greets at brokers' offices at all? Has it ever been a focus of yours? Or I know with Real Producers, obviously we have our events and different things now to try to build that network a little bit more. But has there ever been anything that's worked for you in connecting that way with agents, or is this all, we're still building that process?
Because I've been in the day-to-day business, I really haven't, developed a process on this. Yeah, I'm really just trying to get out in the community now, and, with a couple partnerships, yourself and with Keegan's team, trying to connect with people.
You found a great partner there. I know Keegan and his team do big volume, and he's actually a member of our monthly mastermind as well, the one upstairs, as you know, and they're doing some big things over there.
What's interesting is, one, their team is is genuine and great people. And Keegan, when I first met him, he, went to lunch with me. He spent some time, and I just really like how they run things,
Yeah.
how their office runs, like the culture. And this is like a little promo for Keegan's team, but
Something wrong
they're
with
really
that.
good.
We like his team here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that says something too.
We like giving love to people when it's deserved, so it's all good.
Yeah, I mean, to have two people talking about one real estate team, I mean, it says something about what they're doing. But I'll
sure.
go over there on their Tuesday morning meetings with their team, and everyone's engaged and focused on the big goal. So, I mean, someday I do want to have something similar with that size of a team.
Yeah.
Well, I know that someday I will, but
Are you dealing with all the hiring and stuff yourself right now? Is that run through you?
not currently.
Okay.
Not currently, but
You've been adding,
I think,
or just meaning you're not currently hiring, or if you were, would that still be running through you, or do you have other people now involved?
I have an operations manager
Gotcha.
that's doing the hiring,
Okay.
and hopefully we're expecting things are going to start to, heat up here.
Yeah.
You see a couple fluctuations here and there, and I'm glass half full. I'm sure a lot of the realtors, maybe they have a little bit more history on the trends, but I think it's about that time.
Yeah. I think there's some things moving for sure. I see some good signs and good initial conversations being had with a lot of these top producers. Have been seeing some things picking up here as well, just to kick off 2025. So that's got to be good for the moving industry. One would think.
Exciting.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. Is there any, like, when you define like the types of moves that you do, is there such a classification on, hey, we do this, but we don't do that? Is that true at all in your industry, or you guys can handle pretty much anything?
Well, we've kind of built our business about making the move easy. So, like for us, we connect you with storage. We can connect with cleaners. We can connect with TV hangers. We really try to do everything that you're going to need to get things moved. So, we mentioned about small moves or large moves. Like we try to do it. We try to do it all. Yeah.
Okay. And the process, I guess, is you provided some sort of a quote proposal, then go from there. And if that's accepted, then the process gets started, right? Pretty cut and dry.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. We do over the phone estimates. We do in-person estimates. And,
is that generally based on the size of the move in terms of how many hours it would take to do it? Or is it based on square foot of the home, or how do you usually determine that?
No, yeah, you're exactly right. Yeah, if it's a one-bedroom apartment, we kind of know, give or take, within an hour what's going to happen on that. If it's a two-bedroom, we have a pretty good idea. But then when you get into larger homes, there's a lot more variables at play. So on those, we probably would insist to come out and take a look. But AI is going to be a thing. There's some technologies out there that we're toying with to see that can make the inventory process a little bit easier for folks. And again, for us, making it easy to do business with us.
Oh, that's interesting. What role do you feel like AI is going to have in the moving industry?
There's two different softwares, or maybe probably more, that are doing where you can pop your phone up, turn the camera on, through their app, and just scan the room, and it's going to pick up, this chair, armchair, end table, and then, that's it. You really don't have to talk too much to a human, but so there's that. It's not like working perfectly just yet. They're still improving upon that. And then, from just the AI kind of receptionist, being how intuitive they're
voice
getting.
AI system.
Yeah, the voice AI receptionist. I mean, for me, there's like some little pauses when the AI receptionist is talking from my demos. And if that gets a little bit quicker, it's going to be just like talking to a human, probably a little easier for a potential client calling in, because it's just business, you know.
One that never sleeps, and they're going to answer the phone, right?
Right.
Yeah,
I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I can see the value there for sure. Any business that has a reliability on just making sure that the initial contact is being responded to, right? Any initial phone call coming in at any hour, And I guess in the moving industry, you never really know when that call might be coming in and the need is there. So
Yeah.
yeah, I could see the value there for sure.
A lot of overnight calls, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, no, it makes sense. Just based on, hey, I finally got off of work and now it's top of mind, and you see if anybody picks it up, right? And they just dial at that moment and see what happens.
And right now, you do that, you're getting a VA in another country. So, I mean, that's a huge market in the industry, is the VAs
Yeah.
out there answering the phones. But currently, we do everything in-house. So we do have some limits when it comes to the time of day. But so, yeah, that's why it is interesting for us.
Yeah, makes sense. Now that you've had the company, John, for, what, 6 years, I guess, right? You said 2019.
Yeah.
So, what's been the biggest challenge or challenges that you think you've had to face that either were surprising or not surprising? Anything come to mind?
Well, like I mentioned, when we started, we were thinking, a couple of trucks or a couple of hand trucks and everything's going to be easy. But, there's challenges every day, every week, every month. We're very hungry and persistent to try to make this a successful business. And so
Where's your vision go with that? Where do you want it to go this year and beyond?
this year, last year we just about 30% growth in the company. I mean, realistically, we should see the same growth. I am wanting to stay, here and just expand on the business that we're doing. I'm not looking to open up in other branches or anything, but just finding more great movers. We've got the best moving team in Tampa.
It's one of the bigger challenges, right? Is the hiring side.
Yeah, that's probably, the restraint or the constraint on the business is you can't just, hire movers, train them and have them out there and, in people's homes in an instant. There's a process to it. So I think that'll
That
always
and the trucks, the amount of transportation that you have, I would imagine, is that the pigeonhole?
Probably similar with real estate agents, where it's, leads are always something you want more of. You can always use more help. You can always use more equipment. It's about making everything kind of match up at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And, but yeah, I mean, challenges though, we challenge ourselves every day.
Sure.
We
The art of running a business. There's daily challenges regardless. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. And again, like we have moves going on, 8 and 9 o'clock at night. We've had customers call us at midnight, and it's just day to day.
Yeah.
It's a challenge, but it's exciting to be doing your own thing, and I've got so much support from our team. I've said this at one of your Real Producers events, like the one thing that separates us from other movers is, you're not going to out care my team. We care about every move more than any other mover. And with that sort of culture and that sort of mindset, if you look at our reviews, it's like that's why. And that's why we keep this snowball, 30% growth is like, I feel like that is a low goal for us, but figuring out what's the next, leads that are going to come in, what's Google going to do to us this year. And, they're always changing things. That's one of our largest lead providers. And, I do actually love talking to real estate agents about how they're bringing in leads pretty similar.
Yeah, there's a lot of different strategies out there for sure on bringing those in. You mentioned too that you had like an affiliate program designed for real estate agents. Definitely something I think we want to mention for sure for the community here. So how does that structured and how does that relationship benefit an agent?
Yeah. Well, we actually have a software that does manage the process, but the great thing that we are giving is up to $150 off a move. So if a realtor is coming to us, they can essentially give their client a coupon for a discount and move, and then on the back end, once we complete the move, our software will reach out to the agent, to the realtor, and get them a gift card for connecting us. So it's super easy. It's actually a AI platform that will stay in contact and touches base with the realtor, and so it's super easy. And the great benefit is that you're actually passing a discount on to your client as a realtor, and we do other perks too, like
Sure.
boxes and TV packing and things like that we throw in to really wow the client. To really, I've seen the stats about how many people want to do business with a realtor that gives their clients some extra perks. So
Yep.
it's something like 70 or 80% if would people would rather work with a realtor that's going to give you some perks. So this is how we're trying to add to that realtor giving some perks. So,
Yep.
We'll
No, it makes a lot of sense. We actually teach a lot about that in our Top Producers Nation community when we do our videos as well, just about how to be, what we call the USP, right? Unique selling proposition. And sometimes as an agent, even as something as simple as having, like in your listing appointment, when you sit down with a prospective seller, being able to say, hey, part of working with me means that you're going to get $150 off of your move. That's because of my partner with Premier Movers for Less. And you literally can ingrain that into your offering, right? And into your presentation. And it's funny how sometimes those little things just make you different. They really separate the agent from the other agent who's trying to get that business. God knows there's a lot of them out there. So every little thing can make a difference. So even that itself is a good selling point,
I mean, I think that's out carrying your competitor as a realtor. I mean, that's like looking for other options for your client to add value to them. And yeah, I think people can see that,
For sure.
people can see from your heart that you actually care about, like, they're finding the right house. So
they can sense it and they feel it. And again, it just makes sense logically. Like, you have to be thinking, what am I going to be doing that's separating me from other people in the industry? You have to think about that in your business, right? As a mover, what is it that you can bring to the table? And you just laid out some of the things that you guys are doing, that it's different, right, than what other movers are doing. And agents have to feel the same way. And sometimes that's just partnering with the right vendors and being able to have those in their back pocket, as a tool. We're going to put a bow on the episode here, but I wanted to do a couple quick rapid fire questions for people to get to know you a little bit more.
Okay.
So
Let's go.
do you have a favorite book, author, seminar, as I lose my voice, that has stood out to you at all or made an impact on you personally or professionally?
I'm a big Alex Hermosi guy.
Nice.
And, so I love the art of business. Right now I'm on a, let me see, what's the book where, man, it's slipping my mind right now. It's a author called Stephen Cutler.
Covey?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've never heard of him. I've read a couple of Stephen Covey books.
It's about the science behind getting into a flow state in your life, and he talks about just kind of positioning things in your life to like produce more, like to be more efficient. So I'm kind of digging that vibe about
That's
flow.
cool.
Yeah.
Efficiency is always a good thing.
Yeah.
Anything we can do to get better in that area. What's a favorite hobby? What do you guys love to do for fun when you're just, not jamming in the moving business?
Yeah. I sold my boat to keep the business, to cut down on distractions.
So you're
for
all
the
in,
business. Huh? Yeah. But I'm a golfer on Sundays when we're
nice.
A little bit slower. This week we're down at Summerfield golfing down Riverview area.
That's cool.
But I think golf, trying to do a little pickleball, but golf's really kind of the itch that I have to scratch every month.
What are you shooting nowadays? What's your handicap?
I'm about an average person, man. 95.
There you go. Yeah, we could probably golf together then.
Yeah.
If you were going to say in the 70s, I'd be like, you're out of my class. Out of my class, bro. I do love golf too, but I don't get to play as much as I would like with the 6 little ones and the business and all that jazz. But it is fun. I'm actually playing Monday with a buddy who's in town from Connecticut, so we're going to play over at East Lake Woodlands.
Nice.
You ever played that course?
One, no.
Yeah. So we're playing Monday afternoon, actually. So I'm trying to remember. I think it's the last time I haven't been out in few months now.
Sometimes that's a good thing.
Yeah, we'll see what
Forget all
happens. I could get rusty or I could get lucky. So we'll figure it out. But Monday should be fun. I look forward to it. All right, my last question for you, Jon, is, hopefully many, many years from now when you're thinking back on your life, your business, what do you think you'd want that legacy to be? What would you want to be most remembered for, personally or professionally? What do you think would mean the most to you with that legacy?
Wow, that goes like super deep for me. So right now I'm trying to be a coach to our people. I've got a couple of young guys, and there was a quote about like, if you make an impact on one person's life, that impact is felt by, however many people they know, and then the people that they know.
Trickle down effect, yeah.
And the trickle down. So in this business, in my position as an owner of a company, I have so much opportunity to, affect people in a positive way. So, my legacy, hopefully I'm not planning on having kids anytime that I can think of. So it's really about the people, that I interact with on a daily basis that can see my heart, that, can, build something that a business, that we're all proud of. And so it's really about the impact in the community, partnerships with some, realtors would probably be another piece of that. So, and then, after that, right off into the sunset, retire and golf, probably up in the villages.
Spoken like a single man. Are you married?
Yeah, we're separating.
Separating.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. No children involved in the family. Okay, all right. So soon to be single man, right? That could actually take the time to golf and ride off into the sunset.
You picked up on that one.
Well, hey, that's all good, man. So that should hopefully provide some more time for the golf career, or the semi-golf career, right? And the business as well. It was good to have you here. So I'm glad we can dive in a little bit to the story. And, it's always fun to bring the partners on and just elaborate a little bit about your services and how you do add value to the real estate community. The way we end every episode is with a challenge to the audience. And so one of the things I want to make sure we do, though, is if somebody wanted to pick your brain, Jon, reach out to you about your services, business or whatever, what's the best way for someone to reach you?
On social media, it's at Premier Movers for Less, or, give us a call at the office. I'm always here. So, find us on Google and hit me up, shoot us a text, and we'd love to chat.
Cool. That sounds good. Simple enough. And we'll put that in the description as well, so people can easily see it there. But the way we end every episode is to challenge you. If you've watched this live stream on Facebook or on YouTube, or you're listening to this on any of the podcast platforms that we have out there, first off, make sure you subscribe to our podcast. Click the button below. That way you'll be notified every time a new episode drops, which is weekly in our cadence here. But what's one thing that you can take from our conversation today with Jon? Possibly you're an agent out there who really doesn't have a great moving partner yet in your Rolodex, right? If that's still the word we use in 2025. What is it that you can do to have a quick conversation with someone like Jon? It's probably a valuable thing, as we talked about, to have a great partner that you can even bring up in your listing appointments, that you can bring up to the people that are going to need moving services. And maybe that's even a free service, a free coupon that you can throw into that conversation that would help you stand out, right, from the other agents that are out there in the community. That's a great way to just be different and have that little something different that's going to maybe get you that listing. You never know. So what's it for you? Maybe it's the book recommendation that Jon threw out there that you can also pick up. But take action. Do something. Follow up. And get into that habit of building that muscle of taking action, so that way the time that you invested in listening to podcasts like ours will be worth it and make a difference in your life. We will see you, of course, on the next episode of the Top Producers Nation podcast. And in the meantime, check us out at topproducersnation.com to join the community if you're an agent and if you're committed to being a top producer in your desired market. Tons of resources are there for you to help you do that. We will see you on the next episode.